fire, fire for fire, fire.
Why do they keep putting bald ass women, bro, into my video games? Why do they keep doing this? What's going on? Why do they hate attractive women? I don't get it.
So this past week, I saw 3 different video game adaptation announcements, and one of them sent me down quite the rabbit hole. We got the Legend of Zelda live-action casting news, which
That was cool.
actually looks pretty promising, by the way.
Yeah,
and then
that's a
Netflix reminded us that they
That's a
still have
move.
that Assassin's Creed show in the works. Yikes. And apparently a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer
Ooh.
dropped. Now, I had seen tons of posts about the
Ooh.
Zelda casting, but I genuinely had no idea if there was even a Mortal Kombat trailer until I was scrolling on social media one night before bed and happened across
Why is Jade bald?
a video with over 9
I was about to say she looks like that chick from that new Poopy Soft game. Yeah, bro.
100,000
What?
views
That's
asking
Jade's
one very
swing.
specific question. Why is Jade bald? I thought, huh?
Huh?
And pulled up the trailer. Basically, that single
She pulled a Britney Spears, bro.
question sparked the idea for this whole video because it made me think, shoot, here we go again. At
Here
this
we go
point,
again.
I don't know how many times they've
shit.
done this to us, but I would really, really love for it to stop. So,
No.
bald Jade. To be
It'll stop when they stop making money off of idiots and they realize that it's a waste of time to cater to idiots that don't even play their games. Ah, shit. Like, this is supposed to be Jade? What?
totally honest with you, I'm not a massive Mortal Kombat fan. And like I said, the only reason I even knew this trailer dropped was because my entire timeline just exploded.
Like, what is going on? Where's the mask even? What's happened? I prefer this.
Everyone
prefer
was
this, I'll
talking
say
about
it.
Jade being bald, but even I...
What happened to her honkers? Let's ignore the hair situation. What happened to her honkers?
Someone who isn't all that familiar with the franchise still know that Jade is a super iconic female character. I've seen her all throughout the franchise over the years,
What This is unironically criminal.
and this whole bald thing was really confusing me. So I did what any reasonable person would do.
Research.
I went digging through 30 years of Mortal Kombat history. And you know what I found? At no point during any adaptation, any game, anything, was Jade ever without hair. Not once.
Yeah, because they have to take something that's already popular and ruin it, because if they try to make something original, nobody will frickin' play it or buy it.
In 3 decades. Here's the kicker. This got so much attention that one of the movie's producers actually responded to a tweet about the whole thing. And his
Oh,
answer was
no.
essentially, you'll have to wait and see what the reason is. I'm sorry.
There's no good reason to make a character like... Mortal Kombat is about fighting and hot chicks and hot men with abs ripping each other's heads off. What possible reason? It's gonna be dumb? Yeah, probably.
Sorry, what? You developed lore about making her bald? I don't know. Is this some sort of reverse engineering of the tough girl pipeline where
Yeah.
characters now grow their hair out instead of cutting it off? Because that would be refreshing. And I'm sure this is completely unrelated, but let me just show you a few other recent
Why do they all look the same? Is this the same character? No, I'm not trying to be mean. Oh, it's the same actress. Okay.
projects this actress has been in, including that upcoming Naughty Dog game where, oh my gosh,
It's the same actress. I was like, are these really different people that look the same?
She's
I thought I
bald.
was
She's
scared.
bald and she's torturing people who have hair.
but I'm
Bald!
sure that's just a total coincidence, right? With this brand new introduction of Jade's mysterious hair lore. You know what's
I don't need hair lore. It's a Mortal Kombat freaking movie. Why is this important to the story?
even more wild about this whole
What?
thing? The media's reaction. I was reading some of their responses to fans questioning Jade's newfound baldness, and I happened to also
You found baldness.
come across this article about the Legend of
Baldy
Zelda live action
McBalderson.
casting. And honestly, the comparison between the two is just chef's kiss. This same publication, while shaming fans for not accepting the modernized Jade, a character that's been established for decades, was also simultaneously complaining about a missed opportunity on Nintendo's part, saying that they should have cast a certain actor for the role of Princess Zelda because it was a perfect match.
Which was really weird, by the way, because at no point did they even hint at Hunter Schafer being like a possible like candidate. It was just like rumors, and then people went with it, and when they didn't get what they wanted, they freaked the fuck out and said that it was Nintendo's fault. And I'm like sitting here like there was no indication whatsoever.
It's almost sad at this point, the
I don't get
blatant
it.
double standard that they just can't seem to see. When it fits the narrative, visual accuracy is super important. When it
Yeah.
doesn't, suddenly fans are the problem for calling it out. This, of course, all
Yeah, they're incel gamers, obviously.
ties into
That's
things
the
that have been
that's the
happening
real
across
answer.
Western media for years now, and these live-action adaptations just make it so painfully obvious. At the heart of all of this, it really seems like so many of the people making these adaptations don't actually have respect for the source material.
No, because they don't play the game. We've literally seen this so many times. They are rewriting Harry Potter, even though the director admits on a podcast that you can go listen to on Spotify saying, I've never actually read the books, I'm just gonna do whatever. I wish I was kidding. They
Or for
don't
us, the
care.
audience. At this point, it even feels like active contempt. On just the storytelling end of this, it's almost this attitude of, we know better. They look at these beloved characters and worlds that have made billions of dollars and created passionate fan bases and somehow think, yeah, but we can improve this. We can modernize it. For a while now, that modernizing always seems to mean the same thing. Cramming in some
You just trying to enjoy the franchises you loved as a kid, the message. The message can be subtle too! You think there's no messaging in any fairy tale book from the 1600s? They've been doing that since like the conception of books. It's just that you're reading a book or enjoying a piece of media and you don't realize it because it's part of entertainment.
or unwanted ideologies that don't serve the story or characters. They don't do it because it makes narrative sense. They do it
So
because someone
dumb.
decided the original wasn't progressive enough for their mythical modern audience. Here's the thing. We've already connected with these characters and worlds. We already love them just the way they are. We've spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours with them. When you improve them by making unnecessary changes or stripping away what made them special in the first place, you're essentially telling us that
And then you're saying, and then when you strip away what made them special or what made people like them a lot, you get mad at the audience and say, What? You don't like modern audience ideas? What?
our love was misplaced, that we were wrong to care about them as they were, and that your new
Yeah,
versions
it's
are better, that
bad.
they are actually what we should care about instead. Nowhere is this more obvious than with HBO's The Last of Us. Okay, I
here
know
we
some
go.
of you out there
Oh, God.
enjoyed The Last of Us, and if you did, I respectfully question your taste and ask you to please cover your ears for this next part. I just couldn't get there. And it wasn't just one thing, it was everything. The whole show. Before it even released, I could not get behind the casting at all for pretty much any
I can see at least like Pedro Pascal kind of. I can see the casting. I can't get behind this. I genuinely can't.
pretty much any character. The only person who felt right to me was Marlene. And how could she not?
Yeah, this
It's
is
the
good.
same actress that played her in the game, so of course she felt
Oh,
authentic. But
makes
the
sense.
checkbox casting
Pedro's a creep. Okay, hold on. Let's not talk about the creep side because that's recently came out. I'm talking about back when this was like being released. Nobody knew about that shit. Let's keep that out of the conversation. I'm just being critical of the fact that they ruined the show. Like unequivocally.
was honestly just the beginning of my issues. Then there were the story changes that made everything worse. How the infection spreads, Tess's death, weird time jumps, and of course,
Yeah, the
the
writing
foundational
sucked.
changes made to Joel and Ellie, starting with what they did to Joel's character. Right off the bat, they completely softened him. Game Joel was morally ambiguous, closed off, pragmatically violent. That's what made him so compelling. He wasn't depicted as a hero, but as a multi-layered, complicated man that the player got to know over time. But the show took all of that away and turned him into this weird, emotional,
Softy.
soft, one-dimensional version that had completely lost all of that hard edge. And the biggest problem with this is that by doing that, by fundamentally changing his character throughout the whole show, you destroy his entire character arc. His relationship with Ellie in the game is powerful because it's a bond that shouldn't have formed. He starts out rude, closed off, and then slowly
Love that
opens up
dynamic.
over the course of a year. When Joel makes a joke with Ellie or shows any vulnerability, it means something because the game had earned those moments. The show, on the other hand, wanted all
Yeah,
the
it's like
emotional
Arthur Morgan
payoff
being a
without
hard ass.
doing any of the work to get there. And then
I think another game that was really good with the whole hard-ass character was, again, Red Dead Redemption. How Arthur Morgan eventually softens up and slowly, like, opens up a little bit as he realizes that he's gonna die. Yeah, that was
there's
really
Ellie.
well written.
Again, right off the bat, they turned her into this combative character who's activated by violence. Their word, not mine. The
What is she, a sleeper agent? What?
showrunners literally said Ellie gets excited when Joel beats someone to death because
I'm sorry, what?
literally said Ellie gets excited when Joel beats someone to death because it shows their magnets destined to click together. That's
Are the people that wrote this, like, actual human beings or, like, sociopaths? I've seen people get beat up. It doesn't make me happy. Like, in real life. I'm not talking about, like, oh, I watched, like, a video and I'm detached from it. Like, you know, like, you see someone getting beat up and you're like, damn, this is fricked out. Sociopaths? I mean, I guess. I'm so
just
confused.
weird and not Ellie
Beep, boop.
at all. Game
A robot
Ellie
wrote
is
this.
consumed by survivor's guilt. She's terrified of being alone. She's deeply empathetic. She doesn't like violence. She's disturbed by it. And all of this only adds to her development by the time we get into the meat of part 2. Because again,
Meat.
you have this really impactful arc of who she was in the first game versus how much she's grown and changed since then. But
Oh no,
the
not
show
Last of Us
decided
2,
to make
man.
a total mockery of all of that. To me, the whole thing felt like character assassination. Like, someone looked at these beloved, complex characters and said, yeah, but what if we made them more likable? What if we made Joel softer so he's more immediately sympathetic? What if we made Ellie more aggressive so she seems stronger? Like, why? If that's totally different from the actual characters they're supposed to be. Why are we doing that? And I think this really came to the surface.
I'm gonna be a dad. Yeah. You guys seen that scene? Oh my lord, man.
In season 2 because it
Yippee!
became so clear that this wasn't just about adapting the story, it was this active contempt and disrespect for the original
saw
work,
it. It
and
was terrible.
honestly for the audience too. The Last of Us isn't the only one. Look at the Borderlands movie. They completely missed on
I will never understand the casting decision to make a 50-year-old woman play a 20-year-old woman. It just doesn't work. Even if with the CG and smoothing out the face, you can tell that she's 50 years old.
casting, story development, and
Like,
irreverent
why?
tone that made those games
Why did
special.
you do
Or the Halo
that?
show, where the creators
Oh no, not John Halo. No, not John Halo.
openly admitted they hadn't played the games. And
Literally, I was about to say, they didn't play the games because they don't give a fuck. Same with the Witcher people. The only reason why the Witcher show was even half decent is because Henry Cavill was bucking them on everything, and at the end of the day, he said, I can't do this anymore, and quit. After, like, what, the second season, they said, I can't do this. I'm leaving.
And then stripped Master Chief of everything that made him iconic. Taking his helmet off constantly, making him emotional and rebellious, they turned him into just some guy.
And some people don't understand the nuance behind having a character that never removes its helmet or only does it like once or twice. It makes the character more relatable. You didn't know what race Mr. fucking John Halo was, the fucking Halo boy. It made him more relatable. Like, Master Chief voice guy hated this show. I've never seen it, but I've heard nothing but terrible things. No idea what Samus was a chick too? Yeah, everybody assumes Samus was a freaking boy. And then people are like, oh, she's a woman? Okay, I guess that's kind of hot. That's cool. Why did they do that?
This pattern of we can improve this that keeps happening, and it's exhausting. But here's what gives me hope. Some studios out there actually do get it. We've all seen firsthand that when creators understand what makes these worlds special, when they have genuine love for the source material, you can feel it immediately. Like, I knew literally nothing about League of Legends before Arcane, but I was emotionally destroyed by Vi and Jinx within the first 3 episodes. And
I thought season 1 was the best, and then it kind of fell off really hard. I think the story writing kind of collapsed in on itself. Arcane season 1 was amazing, and then season 2 was just like,
I knew that I was watching something very special. It was so obvious that the people behind the show wanted nothing more than to celebrate the characters that fans loved so much. And that's exactly what happened. Riot, with the help of Fortiche, put true love, care, and appreciation into what they created. And across the internet, you will basically find nothing but praise and love for their adaptation. That's what a good adaptation looks like, taking what's already there and building on it with love. The animation was gorgeous, the voice acting was incredible, and every character felt so real and genuine. You could tell.
Fun fact, in season 2 at the end when Vi and Caitlyn are sitting together, in the Chinese version release, they literally edited them apart so that they're not sitting together so that they could release the show in China. Yeah, the whole, like, we might be a lesbian couple that got, like, absolutely, like, cut to shit. It made it seem like Caitlyn had voices in her head. Yeah, because she's, like, sitting, like, far apart from her, and it's, like, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, yeah, and then they completely cut the prison scene, too. Yeah, you're right. Yep. 100%.
How much getting this right meant to Riot. They looked at their game characters
and makes
said,
no sense.
How can we show people why we love these characters so much? Or look at Cyberpunk Edgerunners. David and Lucy weren't even game characters, but it still felt like Night City. All that corporate dystopia, the body modification obsession, the way technology both elevates and destroys people. Studio Trigger brought their signature animation style, but completely respected what—
I bet you a lot of people also started playing Cyberpunk just because of this this adaptation. Yeah, it was pretty good.
What the world actually is. CD Projekt Red was obviously working with them pretty closely, and by the end, you genuinely cared about characters you'd never heard of before just because of how much respect and care went into telling the story. And then there's Sonic. When that first design dropped with those horrifying human teeth, they could have doubled down and said, this is our—
Dude, don't remind me, dude. Like, why did they make his eyes so small? Like, why? It doesn't even look like Sonic. What is going
artistic
on?
Vision. Deal with it. But instead, they actually listened to fans instead of turning on them. They went back to the drawing board, spent more money, delayed the movie, and gave us a Sonic that actually looked like Sonic. They humbled themselves, admitted they
really good slot, by the way. I watched this on an airplane.
Were wrong, and gave us an authentic version of the character we all know and love. That's what respecting your audience looks like. That's what happens when you care more about getting it right than protecting your ego. And you might notice that all my examples here are essentially coming from animated adaptations. Yes, Sonic is live action, but we're just talking about his animated design. But that's because I'm still waiting for a live action adaptation that really nailed it. I feel like we still haven't gotten that, but please let me know if I'm forgetting
You're never
one.
gonna truly nail it. I think that a lot of people don't understand that you can't really nail video game adaptations 100% because translating the feel of a video game into a piece of art like cinema is almost impossible. Like, how would you even stylize a certain feel or a vibe for World of Warcraft? I thought the World of Warcraft movie was okay, but it's still not wow because World of Warcraft has such a unique style. Depends on the genre? I don't know. I feel like it just doesn't hit as hard. Fallout TV show is pretty good. I thought it was a 5 or a 6 out of 10 at best. I actually disagree because I watched the whole thing through and I thought it was a little bit forced and the lore kind of didn't really make any sense. That's crazy work? What? It is! It's just a 6! It's a 6 at best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
I've praised Fallout. For me, there were still quite a few misses in that show. And it was...
The writing was really bad for some of the characters. Like the sex scene with the two characters, I forget their names. Like, the world building was alright. I don't know, 6 is fine. You guys are acting like I'm giving it like a fucking 1. It's 6 is okay.
Unfortunately enough to overshadow anything they might have done right. And then I know The Witcher was technically a book adaptation, so I won't even go down that road. I mean, are we really to the point where the Minecraft movie is our gold standard for live actions? Getting back on track, this all comes down to respect. Respect for the source material and respect for the audience. Respecting the source material means working with established lore instead of constantly fighting against it. Understanding that these are characters people have spent hundreds of hours with. When you adapt a game, you're not just borrowing names and faces, you're inheriting relationships that fans have built with these worlds. It can be as simple as getting the costume right, keeping a character's signature weapon, understanding their core personality traits, or,
not making them ugly all of a sudden. Do you realize how attached people are to certain characters? Mortal Kombat has been around since the 1990s, bro. What is that, like 30 years now? Even longer, actually. They've been around since, like, arcade things, beat 'em ups were around. Like, in when you had to, like, put a coin slots into the machine. Like, good lord, you think people aren't going to be viscerally reacting when you suddenly change their character from being really, really hot to kind of just like, what the hell?
Making sure they have hair when they're supposed to have hair. Of course, I'm not saying you can't make any changes. I know sometimes you have to adapt things for different mediums, but when you do make changes, they should feel like they're coming from a place of understanding. If you can't easily justify those changes to the fan base in a way that makes sense
or listen to the fan base, if they're gonna be pissed and saying, hey, you should change this, at least get the feedback into a loop and be like, okay, maybe we should change it because we're not gonna make any freaking money! Because that's all you care about because you're a corpa!
Feels natural, then you're probably missing something important about why people fell in love with the characters in the first place. Respecting the audience also means acknowledging that we're not dumb, okay? We know these worlds.
No. They know you're dumb. They want your money, but you shouldn't say that to your core audience. You shouldn't say that.
We understand the lore. We can tell when you've done your homework
dumb.
and
They're just
when
silly.
you haven't. It also means that when fans point out something that looks or feels off, you listen instead of dismissing us all as toxic. Fans get vocal because we care. We love these characters. We love these worlds. When we point out something that doesn't feel right, it's not because we just want to be difficult. It's because these characters and stories mean something to us. The Sonic team understood that. They listened, they fixed it, and look how that turned out.
I do have to say that she's viewing it from a lens that they think that the corporations that make these adaptations think that sorry, ADHD'd out again. She thinks that they listen because they actually care about your opinion. They don't. I hate to break it to you, they just want your money. The only reason that they changed Sonic's thing is because they likely had a screen test. It performed extremely poorly, and they were like, ah, shit, we better delete the movie, otherwise we're gonna bomb and not make our money back. Yeah, we need money. Give us the money, man. They don't care about your dang feelings or how you feel about a character. If you don't show up to watch a movie and give them $40 for a ticket, or you know, or watching it on Netflix or whatever, they're not gonna bother. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think that corpos change certain things just because they listen to your feedback. Yeah.
Can only dream that others will start to do
she's
the same.
just being
so
positive. I don't know.
Bald Jade led us down quite the rabbit hole. And here's what that glistening head clearly reminds us. When studios
glistening.
approach adaptations
Baldy.
with respect and genuine love for the source material, they succeed. When they approach them with this contempt or this we know better attitude, they don't. We're not asking.
It's mostly directors saying that, though. Mostly, for the most part, directors, actors, and people who work on the actual movie. Corpos generally don't say like we know better. At least from what I've noticed.
For perfection here, you know? We're just asking for respect. The blueprint is already there. You have the source
Respect
material,
my own
and
forte.
all these characters and worlds are beloved for a reason. Don't take those reasons away from us, please. But seeing the success of things like Arcane and Edge Runners and the failure of things like, well, you know, I think some studios
John
are
Halo,
finally figuring out that
Senpai, what's
working
up?
with and for fans instead of against them actually makes them more money. A wild concept, right? So let me ask you, which video game adaptation has hurt you the most? Which one gave you hope?
Witcher 3. I mean, Witcher. Sorry. Why did I say Witcher 3? Witcher, dude! I think that, again, you can't really replace Henry Cavill as the Witcher, and he left because he said he couldn't do it anymore. That was his public statement in interviews, saying that he was trying to fight them and say, hey, can you stop changing the actual movie so much, or the show? And they said, no, we don't want to do that. We know better than you. And he said, all right, I'm out. And he left after his contract expired.
Are you feeling optimistic about these latest
Harry Potter.
announcements? Because
Yeah, that
even
one
with
sucked,
everything
too.
we've
This
talked
one's
about
gonna
today,
blow.
I'm still holding out hope. Our beloved characters deserve better. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.
They really should to call Henry an insult for that too. The guy wait, calling Henry Cavill an incel. No, I gotta look that one up. Go check her out. She's a really nice lady. She makes really nice videos. And she's a voice actress, so she's trying to be right now. Henry Cavill called an incel. Even Henry Cavill's getting called an incel. What? No way! They actually did! People started calling Henry Cavill an incel. Is Henry Cavill married? He's married! And he has a child! And they call him an incel! Bro, these people can't be serious! Dude! If he's an incel, we're all doomed, right? The guy's like a big buff dude. He has a hot wife and child, and somehow he gets passed off as an incel.
Fire, 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 fire.